All right, great. Thank you, Bao. We do have some questions, but there's still time for viewers to submit them for Bao to answer, but let's go ahead and get started. First question is, how do they expose the new unexposed preference for scanning both sides of a boot camp computer? They're awfully excited about that, but how do they actually utilize it?
Yeah, so that's basically a plist setting that you would add to the server preferences.
Okay. And can you create admin permissions based on the company's Active Directory groups? In other words, does LANrev talk to directory services?
LANrev does talk to directory services, but it might not be exactly what you're thinking about. You can use LANrev Active Directory or LANrev can use Active Directory authentication for your LANrev admin account. So you can base your LANrev accounts on Active Directory user accounts. Right now, you can't assign permissions to a user group within LANrev, to an AD user group. You can only assign them to individual user accounts. But what you can do is create a profile for them and assign the same user profile to all of the accounts, basically.
Okay. Can LANrev change the heartbeat time on the clients?
Absolutely. All of these intervals that I mentioned, such as the automatic inventory interval, which is by default 12 hours in the heartbeat, all of those can be changed. So the default just happens to be 15. You can change it to something shorter, like 5 minutes, or something longer, like an hour, depending on your network environment and your needs.
Okay, and you gave a lot of good examples of how people might use some of the new features. Can you talk about what was sort of the thinking or even real-world use cases for the time machine integration? How is that feature being used today, or what was sort of the thinking behind doing that?
Well, with the time machine integration, what you might want to do is, for example, let's say you have a lab full of machines, Macs, right? Well, your options are to either re-image the entire machine on a regular basis or just roll them back to a particular time machine backup set, right? Obviously, the rollback is going to take much less time because you're not restoring the entire hard drive. You're only restoring a portion of the hard drive, so it's going to happen much faster, right?
Great. And the last one comes from a viewer who used to be a Octopus user because of its cross-platform nature, and they're just wondering how similar is LANrev to Octopus.
They are completely different products, but if you've used Octopus before, it's going to be very easy for you to get used to LANrev. You'll notice that a lot of the UI elements look very similar. The functionality, in some cases, is very similar, but there's some functionality in LANrev which obviously never existed within LANrev, never existed within Octopus, such as the automated patch management, for example, and some of the remote management commands. So in terms of if you're currently an Octopus user, it's a very low learning curve to learn how to use LANrev. We do have built-in context-sensitive help, so if you ever get into trouble, just click on that context-sensitive help to get info on that particular command you happen to be on.
Okay, well, thanks for the questions, and thanks to Bao for his update on LANrev. We're going to go ahead and move forward with Michael Perbix. Michael, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, great. So we'll advance the slides for you here in the studio. Just give us an audible cue, and we're going to go ahead and move on to your presentation, and we're at the LANrev at Lower Merion slide. Go ahead, Michael.
Great, thank you. Hello, my name is Michael Perbix. I am a network technician at Lower Merion School District, right outside of Philadelphia, located in Pennsylvania, of course. And we were looking for a while to find a product to handle our OS 10 side of the house. We have probably a little over 7,000 clients or so. And you guys are going to have to excuse me because I'm also just overnight got a cold, so I sound a little rough. I apologize. So we have just probably over 7,000 clients on the Mac side of the house, and then we have Windows clients as well. And whenever we try to find any type of solution here, we try to find something that could possibly give us cross-platform benefits and something that works equally well on both sides, because we all know that there are products that say they have cross-platform benefits, but it always caters to one side or the other with features lagging behind. So one of the things that drew me to this product was that the amount of integration that it had on the OS 10 side, and it pretty much had all the kind of pieces we're looking for. Please advance the slide. We primarily use LANrev for inventory information for hardware and software. We have a kind of a limited rollout right now of about 3,000 machines. We do not have it throughout our entire organization yet because we actually only started with it about halfway through the school year, and we will be making sure it's on every machine during our summer reimaging. But some of the information that we plan on gleaning from this for hardware information is the type of hardware and warranty specs that the machine has. A lot of times we need to query for various different surveys, how many machines we have of a given type of processor, how old the machines are, what size are the hard drives, and how much percentage of the hard drives are free. It's especially good for troubleshooting information when someone calls us and says they're having issues. Not so much as important for us, but we can take a look at what USB devices and other devices are attached to the computer. We can totally create custom reports based on all this information. And we can also take a look at OS levels to determine what updates are needed and see if any machines happen to be missed during the reimaging. We'll be able to see, obviously, if they have an older rev of the OS on there, we'll be able to know. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of one of our just a sample information that we have. And you'll see that this is a custom report I did up real quick with some of that information that we were talking about. You'll see that the agent name is the naming structure that we use. One thing that's very important for us is we use a common naming structure for our machines here, starting with building initials and then going to a room number and then going to a machine number. So you'll see that in this on the left-hand side. And then it says what type of computer type it is. This is all information coming from LANrev. I haven't had to put anything in at this point myself. The computer age, which shows you how old the computer is. The OS version that's currently running, the processor type, processor speed, the amount of physical memory in the machine, and the size of the volume, the boot volume, and also how much percentage free space there is. So you can see how you can put together pretty quickly a custom screen report of just about any piece of information that LANrev gives you. Next slide, please. And then you also have software information. Once again, it allows us to see what version of the OS is installed. It allows us to look up installed software and see what versions are on there. We can also take a look at a machine and see if it's missing any OS patches. We typically don't support patching the OS during the school year unless there's a need to, unless there's something major that comes out in a release. But once again, this lets us see what the machine has. And then, of course, looking for applications, you can scan different options, boot volume, the applications folder, local volumes, installer receipts. So you have different ways of gleaning information off the computer to see what applications are installed. And you can also protect yourself here by telling the client computer that it can only get its OS updates from your LANrev servers. So that way, LANrev can take care of proxying the information as to what the missing OS patches are and can then get those patches when the client is in network from your network servers to make sure that they get the patches that you approve and whatnot. Next slide, please. Here is a quick sample screen of a scanning for applications. And with the scanning for applications, you also have license monitoring where you can actually set up your number of licenses you have for applications and do monitoring reports to see how many computers how many computers have the software installed on it and whatnot. But here you'll see just a quick scan of a single computer. Happens to be the computer I'm standing at right now, and it's just showing you real quick names of some software that's installed and some other basic information that you can see from this screen here, mainly the installed software info, software version, software size, installation date if it's available, the identification type, where it got that information from, and product IDs coming from the package, I believe, identifier. Next slide, please. Next slide here shows you OS updates. So what I did was I did a scan for OS updates, and I see that the computer I'm currently on is missing the GarageBand update, iDVD update, iLife support, iPhoto, iTunes, iWeb, Keynote, mainly the whole iLife suite, Numbers, iWork, Pages, QuickTime Update, Safari, and Security Update. So you can see here that I'm actually running, since it says PowerPC, I'm actually running a